And we have some of our other state partners here like United Way 211, Eversource, United Illuminating, Avangrid, and American Red Cross. So this really is a collaborative effort. We've been monitoring this system for a while and getting ready to prepare to respond and recover from it. We expected that this morning was going to be really the brunt of it, so we're by no means out of the woods, but we just wanted to take this morning to give everybody an update on where we are and what we're tracking. So the state of Connecticut remains under a state of emergency until further notice, and that commercial travel ban is also has been in effect since 5 p.m. yesterday and will remain in effect until lifted through a recommendation by our Department of Transportation to the governor's office. Our cold weather protocol, the severe cold weather protocol, is also activated as of noon yesterday on Sunday, and that will remain in place until at least Tuesday at noon to make sure that we can get those out of the elements, the unhoused population, and those seeking shelter. And we'll have some updates on those metrics around the severe cold weather protocol shortly. As mentioned, we just continue to monitor the forecast and the conditions. Something we're also closely tracking is the power outages, the consistency of this storm with the heavy wet snow. We're aware that and expect to see those numbers continue to tick up. But for a little while now, we've been holding steady about 15,000 power outages across the state that we're tracking currently. As mentioned, we have representatives from Eversource and United Illuminating here embedded with us, as well as in some of our municipal emergency operations center. We have an energy restoration task force available if needed, as well as our Make Safe protocol to make sure we prioritize those utility needs, as well as keep our responders safe with any down wires or emergency calls. So some of the messaging we continue to just want to emphasize is the importance of staying off the roads. While a full travel ban is not in effect, the travel is still very treacherous. The more we can keep everybody home and hunker down for the storm, the easier it'll be for our emergency responders to respond to those emergency calls, as well as our Department of Transportation and municipal public works agencies to get out there and clean this storm up. We also want to encourage the public that as it begins to stabilize and those residents start to dig out, this is that heavier wet snow as mentioned, so please be careful. Sometimes the snow is referred to as heart attack snow. We want people to be very careful as they begin to dig out and use caution, take breaks, stay hydrated, and if you're not feeling well, please stop shoveling. We also just want to reemphasize some of the messaging from our Division of Fire Administration as well as the State Fire Marshal, the importance on if you lose power to use generators safely and also help our firefighters out and those crews if there are emergencies by digging out around fire hydrants. And lastly, I'll just say, this was mentioned yesterday, but always assume that any down wires are energized and don't approach or touch those down wires. You should call 911 if there's a down wire or an emergency, or if you lose power, you should call your utility company to report the outage. Next, I'm going to turn it over to the Connecticut State Police to give an update on what they're tracking. Sergeant Hamill.
Thank you, Director. Sergeant Mike Hamill, Office of Field Operations here. The State Police have, responded to over 250 motor vehicle assists, which include vehicles off the roadways, multiple jackknife tractor trailers. So we want to stress again the governor's commercial travel ban. Keeping those vehicles off the roadway make it a lot easier for DOT to keep the roads clear. Also, we've responded to over 82 accidents at this point in time, and 2 of the accidents have minor injuries. Also, I would like to report that our agency is monitoring multiple road closures in towns, and that's what I got.
All right. Thank you, Sergeant. Next, I want to turn it over to United Way 211, who is a really important partner of ours, especially as we activate the severe cold weather protocol, to give an update on what they're tracking.
Yeah, sure. So Tanya Barrett for 211. We have had over 200 calls for severe cold weather. So those are folks that are looking for transportation to warming centers. We have about 168 warming centers that are open across the state. And those warming centers can be accessed at 211ct.org. So people can call or they can use the website, and there is a cold weather banner on the website where you can find this information. And that is the end of our report.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I'll turn it over to the American Red Cross for an update.
Thank you, Director. Alexis Isaac with the American Red Cross. So we continue to monitor for any disaster-related needs, working here with our partners at the SEOC. Just another update is due to the weather, we've had over a dozen blood drives that were scheduled today that need to be postponed, and we are in a severe blood shortage, and the loss of 300 units will have an impact that we're going to have to make up for.
Thank you for those updates. And I forgot to mention, we also have the Connecticut National Guard here with us, another key partner. Have not had to activate them for any missions, but as we look at any unmet needs, they may be needed. So we're in their facility here in the Hartford Armory, and a great partner to have also with us at the table. With that said, again, we just wanted to provide a general update. We know we still have a little bit of a way to go to get out of the storm. And we anticipate the cleanup and some of the restoration to take a few days. But I can open it up now to any questions from any members of the media for on-topic questions related to the storm. We'll start with Chris Polanski, Connecticut Public Radio.
Thanks so much. I have two questions quickly. Are there any injuries or fatalities reported so far?
No, minor injuries on the two of the accidents there.
Great. And I guess just compared to the forecast, compared to what we were talking about yesterday, how does this storm stack up so far? Is it worse than we expected, better, about what we expected?
Yeah, I can take that question. Josh Signorelli, the subject matter expert on weather for Demis. It is playing out as forecasted. We've already seen snowfall totals approaching 20 inches in southeastern Connecticut. We've seen wind gusts approaching 70 miles per hour at Groton New London Airport, officially 68 miles per hour. And we do have official blizzard conditions reported in Groton, Meriden, and also Waterbury.
Got it. Thank you all.
Are there any other questions? John Moritz.
Yeah, is there any update? Yesterday there was a timeline given that for people who are experiencing power outages, that it could take up till Tuesday for them to return. Is there any update to kind of how efforts to restore power are proceeding, and any update to that timeline?
Yeah, so we know our Eversource partners, we're pushing out messaging to the customers yesterday that in some cases it may be 2 to 5 days. I think until we're understand the full impact of those outages, you know, they were planning for upwards of 300,000+ outages is what level they're activated at. As I mentioned, right now between the two major providers, we're only about 15,000. So we hope it remains low, but no update to that timeline, I guess, is the easy answer. But nonetheless, the conditions that are still present with the wind, it makes it very difficult for them to operate in their bucket trucks and get out there and recover. But I can say they brought in mutual aid crews from surrounding states and as far away as Canada to help with the recovery effort that are staged here in Connecticut, ready to go once the conditions are safe to do so. They'll focus on the biggest bang for their buck first, trying to get the most people on those circuits that serve larger populations. But some of those, what they call nested outages, you know, end of the line out, people that are still out of power may experience a few days before they're restored. But we can get a more definite answer from the utility providers once the system stabilizes here later today and share that out.
All right, you've been hearing from a whole bunch of folks there at the Emergency Management Center